Misconceptions of the public aimed at the real estate profession.
Yeah,
like all you do is you're just a glorified door opener.
You golf all the time.
You golf all the time. You can.
You're always at happy
You just go and
hour.
show houses.
Yeah.
Beautiful home.
How fun.
They sell themselves. I watch HGTV. I could totally do this job. I found that
Yes.
that's not even close. Are we live? I found that's not even close to the to what we do.
No.
Okay, we're live. We're back.
All right.
Hello.
Sorry, everybody. We had a little technical difficulty there. We're not sure what.
A couple of sips of coffee here in the meantime, but I
Yes.
think, Brooke, where we ended up when it went out on us was we were talking about misconceptions that the public might have of what it is that you do.
Yes.
And have you experienced that? And can you see it today? And what are some of those things?
Yeah. I don't know how much we got cut off, but I think for me, the biggest misconception is just the industry, like what you do. It sounds all fluffy and fancy and glorious, but it's hard work. And I think until someone experiences a deal with an agent who does work for you, that will be what changes their mind. So, I mean, I was just at a listing appointment last week of a for sale by owner, and she does not want to hire an agent because her last agent did nothing, stuck a sign in the yard,
Yeah.
and then she ended up selling her house on her own.
Yeah.
So you have to prove to people what you're worth.
Right.
And it is hard, and it's not glamorous. You know how many nasty basements I've been in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really,
Oh my
what
gosh.
you're saying is that the agents, as an industry, have the ability to create a clear perception of what it is we do and a good perception of what we do. But it has to be done in a way that the consumer values what you're doing.
Yes.
But let's just dive in here a little deeper. This is a tough question. You and I have been talking a lot about this with one of our friends down in Austin, Texas.
Yep.
So Leo Olson was gonna try and prove, and this is I don't think he minds sharing because I think he's talked about it publicly before. He was gonna try and show his client what his value was.
Okay.
So he copied his client on all of his emails with everyone.
Wow.
So that client got to, or I think it was like 2 or 3 clients, and one client loved it. One client was like, "Dude, way too much information. Please leave me out." And then, so you have that example of someone trying to show value. Then we have a friend down in Austin who worked with a Keller Williams agent down in Austin, Texas. That's where Keller was founded. And he was like, "Man, that team hardly did anything. That thing was an easy slam dunk deal. I definitely didn't earn their 3%.
Okay.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
holy cow, I basically showed up, told them I wanted that house, and then I got the deal. And the deal happened. So how do you take those two extremes where this agent
Right.
probably made the deal so smooth because they were a true professional
Yes.
and did a great job, and this agent is a big team leader. So they're running a big successful team in Austin. And then you have Leo who goes the other and shows all the granular things we do. So how do you present value to the public in the way that you're kind of describing without going too far one direction or too far the other? Because you've said a dozen times, if you do your job really well.
So am I getting interviewed?
I'm
Yes,
hoping
I
it's
wanna
both of
hear
us.
this.
It's to everybody. Because you've said
I wanna
multiple
hear this.
times
Well, I will.
that if you do your job really well, it
looks
should
easy.
look like it was easy.
Right.
It should.
I think that one of the things that's happened over the years is that the good agents do make it look easy because they're on it and they're timely. And we know that the number one reason that people get frustrated with real estate agents is lack of communication. It's over
Absolutely.
and over and over. And it's like, I'm not sure what it is that agents don't understand about this area, but their biggest problem will be created by lack of communication. And so you think about it and you go, well, then clearly I should over communicate till they get sick of it and tell me to back off. I mean, to me, that would be almost the greatest thing in the world to have the client say, "Hey, enough." I mean, where you could then say, "All right, I'm getting through here." But again, the orchestration, the directing, the logistics of a transaction are all very important, and good agents will line these things up in a way, and they
Mhm.
prepare people in advance. And I think that one of the things that we can do with people is we can prepare them by, these are some of the things that could take place or might take place, and I want you to be prepared. And so if this happens, then we might have to deal with this. And again, now some people would say, why would you want to create problems that aren't there? And I think the answer would be, well, what we're talking about, which is you're doing all these things in the background. You're just not getting any credit for them because you're not expressing, you're not explaining, you're not covering it. Even if you did it in a handout for them, and just to look at, here's my checklist that I'm working on.
Yep.
These are all the checkpoints that I have to deal with to make sure that this thing goes smooth. And then we also have the other side, which I have little control over, but my goal is to stay in close communication so that we don't get surprised where something has been dead for a week or 10 days and we didn't know about it. So
Yeah.
surprises are the killer, right? Lack of communication and then surprises. So
And
how about you?
And how you handle them.
Yeah.
I think a couple things. For me, it's reading my client the very first time.
Okay.
I have client, the disc profile. I love that.
Mm.
I have two very different clients right now. I have one that's a high D. He does not want the fluff. He wants the quick and 20-second phone
Bullet
call.
point, yeah.
Tell me, no email,
Yeah.
sometimes text, but like, tell me what I need to know. I'm going to make a yes, no answer, done. And then I have one right now that text, call, like wants every detail. And so I'm going to provide them what they both want
Yeah.
and kind of read it that way. But really, going even before that, in an appointment buyer or listing, I do have a list of everything that we cover for them. And a lot of times it's, we are going to take the lead on that, but I'll just keep you informed if anything is wrong, or I'll let you know where we're at in the process. And certainly they always have the final
Yeah.
say for
Yeah.
anything. But hey, if you want me to take the lead on these are services that we just offer for you to make this easy. Like
Yeah.
it should,
Yeah.
it's buying or selling a house. It should be a great experience,
Yeah.
especially on, the buy side. It should be, you're about to purchase your, biggest investment. It should not be stressful.
Have you ever thought about us going as far as actually giving your clients a profile to say, hey, I want to make sure I communicate with you properly? Like, rather than like, what I mean is like sometimes
amazing.
they teach us like, figure out if it's an engineer type or if it's a
Right.
teacher type or if it's like now you're having to use like ninja mind tactics to try and determine what they are. And sometimes people can be pretty good at cloaking who they really
Right.
are, especially early on in the relationship. So have you, what do you guys think about possibly just trying to figure out right up front, hey, I want to know what kind of personality you are so I can make sure I'm going to...
I would
Is
love
that
to
too
list
far?
your house, but first, can you take a disc profile
Yeah,
for
you're
me?
right.
No, I would
Yeah.
not.
But is there- but
I
is
want
there-
to know if I want to work with you
But
or
is
not.
there a more appropriate way to explain that you want to make sure you communicate properly with them and you want to understand their preferences?
I usually just ask
Yeah. Okay.
and
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm happy to go through every single word in this packet with you.
Mhm.
I'm happy to answer questions. I try to tailor to how they work best.
So you do go through some sort of a trying to figure out who they are right off the bat.
Yeah. After
Happens
a while,
naturally.
I've always been in the people business, and I've always been in management really until real estate. So
Well, you're
it's
managing.
pretty.
You're managing every one
Right,
of those
right,
transactions, right?
I guess staff. We've always managed people.
Yeah.
And so it's been just
You
a
pick up on it
godsend.
like this.
Mm-hmm.
Can't manage staff like you do your clients, though, right?
Depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, where are we on time on this
I
thing?
don't
Do
know.
we?
Well,
I
we lost a few minutes there.
Well, yeah.
So we got a few minutes here.
All right. So, another area that
Unless
I
you
wanted
have someplace
to
to go.
ask is, what do
Good.
you want to learn? What area do you feel you're weak in, or where do you need to know more?
Gosh, I don't know if there's one. I think everything. I often just, like, these interviews, for example, are so amazing. I don't know if you've had that feedback before, but
Thank
when
you.
I watch them, I always pick something up from someone like, oh, never thought of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's one specific area. I think just in general, I mean, I am I will self-proclaim I am a newbie. I
Yeah.
need a lot of questions. Thank you, by the way. You're always so available. For me, I think it's just general knowledge that I'm always looking to gain. I mean, I mess up so much, and that's just, it's been valuable for me to take a step back and be like, okay, lesson learned.
Yep.
I'm going to do that again.
I have a question for you about branding, since you spent a lot of time and energy focusing on that. What have you learned through all your trial and error and all the things you've been working on since January? Have you learned about your brand? Have you learned about how to communicate properly on social media? Like, what have you? What are some of the big takeaways you've learned from trying to build Finlan Homes?
Yes, it's a work in process. I'm not there yet. But I think just for me, it was the feeling, like how can I get a feeling across of, I don't have a home search on my website because that's not the point for me. I want my friend to say, hey, you should check out my friend Brooke and her, sister-in-law who does staging for me. And I want someone to go to the website and be like, oh, like I want to be their friend. I want people to feel well cared for and just like that handheld white glove service. And so, long answer to your question, but I think for me, it just came back to the feeling. So even on social media posts, like what's the feeling someone gets when they see this, because then they're going to hopefully keep me top of mind. We do provide the white glove service, and that's not something everyone does, but I want people to be like, well, I want that. I want Brooke to help me,
Can you quantify the white glove? Like, as compared to just a normal, regular?
It kind of happened organically. I was listing a friend's house who was going through divorce. She needed her wedding dress out. It was very emotional. And I was like, okay, no big deal. For her, it was this huge thing. And for me, I was like, I'll just take it to the consignment store. I got you. Like, no big deal. I had another friend going through something, selling her house. She was overwhelmed and needed 50 boxes packed. Again, for her, it was like, I cannot make it through this day. And for me, it was like, it's not a big deal. I went and helped pack. My father-in-law was in town. My parents live in Arizona. He, or my stepdad, and he mowed our lawn and, so little things. So there is a fine line of, I can't be your, maid and servant and work,
But those are the intangibles.
These are the things that are, they're going to make, me helping them in that way is going to mean more to them than selling their house.
Yeah. I'm hoping to spend the rest of this year talking with the agent community about the intangibles versus the tangible. And in some way, agents have to learn how to be able to communicate the intangibles of what we do, because like you said earlier, most of the public do not understand what we do. They think you put a sign in the yard, you fill out a sheet, you put it on the MLS, it goes up into the stratosphere, and that's what you do. And recently I put a post on Facebook Connect where I asked a question about what are some of the strangest things that you've done. Well, you just gave a couple of them just now. And I don't think you listed them out on Connect either. But it's another example to me of the things that the good agents do that are not listed anyplace, but yet they're the reason that you understood and you were able to adapt or evolve into this situation in a way that made this easier for the consumer, the client, and so really glad to hear that. I also wanted to go back and mention about the education thing, because I picked up at something else you were saying. I want the other agents to hear this, that basically what I heard you say is that you can go to anything and you're going to learn something. And I've heard many, many people over the years say, well, that was a stupid seminar, that was a stupid thing. And it's like, I can't believe by watching or listening to somebody or reading something that you can't learn one good thing from everything. And if you add them all up in the end, you've got something.
Yes.
And I think that's what you were voicing a little bit earlier.
I think so. I am very open. I'm new to selling. I will never say, I'll tell my clients I'm an expert, but there's always something to learn. What I feel like I am strongest at is people and relationships and doing the right thing. We talked about that. That's so important in real estate. I mean, several times I stop and say, okay, what do I need to do? Well, it's obvious. You always have to do the right thing, even if it's hard, or even if there's a piece of you that's like, well, shoot, I want to get paid. You always have to do the right thing. And then the real estate technical stuff, I think you just learn. I mean, I learned so much from just colleagues here and my mentors, Lindsay Dykstra. Listen to her on the phone. You learn so much.
Yeah, you overhear a lot.
So anyway, Paul, I don't know how we...
No, that, I mean, if we feel like you have one last question there?
I do have one last question.
Okay.
What can or should the industry do to improve?
The industry.
I'm always thinking
As
about the
far-
broader, like, as an industry, real estate agents, there's over 1 million, there's 1.3 million real estate agents. What can we do to improve? And I realize you can't lift people up. You really can't. I mean, people have to do it themselves.
Yeah.
But as you look at the industry, what could we do to make us better?
I think a couple things. One, help each other out. I've had a couple experiences in my first year where I had agents not be very kind to me because I was new. Did not know my background. I mean, I've been in real estate a very long time. So I think be kind and help. Like, we have the same goal, right? If I'm listing and you're the buyer, we both want to get to closing. Be honest. I've had that a couple instances where I was really just baffled at things an agent was selling to me, like, oh, we don't need to sign that, we'll deal with it later, like, let's just close.
The little gray zones that people go in.
Being kind, honest, and I really think giving back to your community as I don't know, does that sound cliche?
Well,
I think as people, we're helping build communities, and I just am such a believer that it's important to give back.
I think the giving back is important, but I don't know that will change the perception of agents in the transaction, right?
No.
I mean, I think what you were saying earlier, honesty, frankness, do the right thing, be kind.
It's all
those
easy
are
stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the one, and as I think back early in my career, I had heard right after the Gulf War, the first Gulf War, I heard General Norman Schwarzkopf give a speech. He said two things. He said, when put in charge, take charge. So when somebody lists their home with you, what did they just do? They just put you in charge.
They did. I love that.
Right? And the second thing he said was, always do the right thing. And somebody said, what's the right thing? And he said, always do the right thing. And so you think about, I mean, here he comes on stage in front of thousands of people, and he's got 2 points.
Pretty basic points.
Yeah.
But strong.
How
powerful.
Yeah.
I
So,
like it.
and you
I
picked
agree.
up on one of them before I brought anything up, so good for you.
Thank you.
And so that's all I've got, Paul.
Okay.
I'm out.
I'm excited to golf tomorrow.
Yeah,
Big
golf
fun
tomorrow.
day.
Yeah, the
9 a.m.
5th annual.
We're 50-50 on rain from what I hear for the morning.
Nah, it's
So
not gonna
come
rain.
prepared for anything, guys, because we're pushing through.
The only
Yes.
reason it'll be stopped is if there's a tornado or a lightning.
Yep.
Other than that, we play.
We're playing. So
So
thank you so much for
Yes,
joining us.
thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so
you,
much.
Brooke.
If anyone
Thanks
has
for having me.
questions, if you guys have questions for Brooke or any of us, please fire them off into the comment section, and we'll
Sounds
keep an
good.
eye for the next day or two to see if
Okay.
anyone has any questions.
Perfect.
But thank you so much.
sorry about
Thank
the
you.
interruption.
Yep. Dom. Just kidding.
Damn.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.